Hello and welcome to another episode from Silly Social Media. I'm Sam Flynn, your excitable host for today, and today we are looking at Twitter searches and how to use them specifically to win you some new business. And we're going to cover off today how to search on Twitter, then how to refine that search to make it more applicable to what you're looking for, what your keywords could be, and then how could you respond once you've found the appropriate tweets. So that's what we're going to cover off today. So what are Twitter searches? Well, Twitter searches let you literally search for what people are saying on Twitter. So it searches the tweets that they've put out there. All over the world you can search wherever you want, just to see what people are saying. And you may feel a bit like, oh, that's a bit stalkerish. But at the end of the day, people have put this out there to the public domain. So don't feel like you're stalking people or invading their private space. Twitter is very public and people know that when they post stuff on there. So just to give you an example of how you can get some new business through these searches, I once tweeted that I had a chip on my windscreen, and within about 30 seconds, no prizes for guessing who replied to that tweet to say they could fix it. Yep, it was Autoglass. Autoglass got straight in there and said they could fix my windscreen that day. So what's really clever about that is that they've gone direct to the need. So if you think about, if you could find those people that had a need for your product or service, if you could find them right at that point when they're ready to buy, it puts you in a really strong position to market to them. Much easier than marketing to people in the hope that one day they will have the need for what you're selling. And this is really a semi-toddler alert, because I don't think this is something that even people that have been on Twitter for years are doing. So some of you might not really know much about running searches on Twitter. So let's head over to Twitter and have a look how you actually do this. So on your Twitter homepage, you'll see at the top bar here, there's something called search, the search bar. And quite simply, that's where you run your searches. So click on that bar and start typing in something you want to search. So for example, I'm going to run a search on Twitter. And what this will do is it will pull up all the tweets all over the world that mention the word Twitter. Now this probably isn't really going to help me find much business, as people are going to be talking about Twitter on Twitter all the time. So I need to really kind of refine that search. And the way I do that is by clicking on this cog symbol and going to advanced search. And on advanced search, it will give me a lot more options. So rather than just searching for the word Twitter, what I probably really want to find is people who need a bit of help with Twitter. And my guess is that those people are probably new to Twitter. And you can imagine one of the first things they say when they're new to Twitter is, "Hello, I'm new to Twitter." So that's the phrase I'm going to search for. And I want to search it as a phrase rather than all of these words, as I want it to search it so it sits like that in the update. Otherwise, it would just search for the word new, the word to, and the word Twitter. Scrolling down, you can choose to search specific accounts, and you can also choose to search in specific places. So it's not much use to me right now finding people all over the world that are new to Twitter. I'm going to just look for people in my local area, which is Manchester, and I'm going to say let's have a look about 50 miles around Manchester. And you'll see here as well, you can select whether that's got a positive connotation, a negative, whether it's a question, whether it's going to include retweets. So you can really refine that search down to how you want to search it. Click that search button, and we've now refined that search, so we're going to have a lot fewer results. So as you can see, here's all the tweets that mention new to Twitter. And what I can do then is look specifically for those ones who are businesses. I can then go on and actually help out. And it's great to see actually my name comes up there as a suggestion. And because I don't want to be running that same search every day and spending time putting those keywords in, I can just save the search, which means I can go back to it very quickly as often as I want. And to access that saved search, I can just click on that top search bar when I come to Twitter, and there's my search at the bottom there. So the key thing you need to get right is your keywords. You need to think about what would people be putting on Twitter that would lead to your product or your service. So what are your keywords? And these are probably very different to the keywords that you would think about if you were doing, say, SEO, search engine optimization, and thinking about the keywords that people stick into Google. Because the key thing here is that Twitter is very conversational. And people use different words in conversation than they do if they were searching the internet, for instance. So have a think about how those words would come out in conversation. So, for example, there's no point me searching people saying, I need some help with Twitter. That's probably not what they'd put on there. Instead, they're saying things like that they're new to Twitter. And that would make more sense for me to search because that's what they're going to be putting on there. And I know they're my target market because they're new to Twitter and they might not necessarily have had that training or know how to convert that activity into business. And I do know of one business who gets the majority of their customers through Twitter, and they help people get their book published. So you can imagine all they really need to search is people saying that they've finished their book or that they've just finished their manuscript, because those people at the right time for them to then jump in with and introduce their services to. So again, they're going direct to the need, but they're not thinking about people that are looking for publishers. They're thinking about people who are conversationally telling people that they've just finished their book. So make sure you focus on that conversation element. How would people say it on Twitter? Because it might be completely different to how they would search for it on Google. What are they saying on Twitter to lead to your product or service? So, for example, if I was looking for people who are engaged, would people go onto Twitter and say, I am now engaged? And also, if you search the word engaged, would that actually lead to people who are engaged to be married, or would it lead to lots of other connotations of the word engaged? Instead, you might want to search for congratulations on getting engaged, because then that person who's congratulating will probably mention the 2 Twitter accounts of the people getting married, and then you can follow up with those Twitter accounts, follow them if your target market is obviously people who are looking to arrange a wedding. So just thinking it through how you could actually get across your keywords on the Twitter searches. And then the next key step is that you actually respond appropriately to those updates. So the big question really is to sell or not to sell. Now that is the question. Should you go straight in with the sell, or should you avoid the sell? The danger is when you sell to someone is you're pushing them away because they don't know you. But there are some cases where it's perfectly all right to actually go with that sell and start selling to that person straight away. And those circumstances are if they have an immediate need. So if someone says, I really need to get this sorted today, you've got to go straight in there. This isn't a case of building up a relationship. This is straight in and telling them, yep, I can get it sorted today for you. So if that need is really immediate, you've got to really jump in there with the sell straight away. It's also okay to sell if you have limited competition in your field. So if you know you're one of only a very, very, very few people who can deliver the product or service that that person needs, then again, it's okay to go in with that sell, because they are kind of fishing in a very, very, very small pond. So if you've got limited competition, you can feel quite comfortable to sell to that person straight away. Or if you already know them, if you've already built up a relationship with them, you know them, then I think it's absolutely fine to say to them at that point, yeah, I can do that, and sell to them straight away, because you've already got that relationship live with them. It's also okay if others have actually referred you in to that person. So the person's put a shout out, a request, and you've had loads of people referring you in. It's then okay to sell because you've kind of got that backup from other people. And finally, if no one else has responded, so if you haven't seen, if they kind of tweeted it a few hours ago and you hadn't seen it and you've just spotted it, if you kind of run a search on that username, you'll then see the replies that have gone to them. So search for that Twitter username, see the replies that have gone to that person. And if no one's responded about that request, you're kind of confident that no one else has gone to them with the kind of the solution, so it's okay for you to do that. But anything outside of those circumstances, do not sell. Miss out on the sell altogether, which you might think, well, that's a bit mad because someone's just stated that they have a need, so I should go in there straight away and sell my product or service to them. But often they might have stated they have a need, but they've not literally stated, please come and sell to me, even if I don't know you or have never heard from you. So be really, really kind of cautious of going in with that sell. So, for example, if someone had put on Twitter that they are looking for an accountant, you can imagine that there'd probably be about 50 accountants that reply, and about another 50 people that say, oh, you need to speak to my accountant, and that person's just going to get bombarded by all these messages. And the worst thing you could do at that point is go in with, yep, we help businesses just like yours, yada, 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 yeah, we're a great accountancy practice, we've got 20 years experience, and going direct in with the sell. Worst thing you can do, because you're just pushing them away, and that's what every other one of those 50 people are going to do. Instead, you need to be the one that stands out. And the best way to do that is to ask questions. So ask something like, just seen your tweet, what is driving your decision? Are you looking to change accountant, or are you just starting out? Ask them questions, because it puts it back onto them. And that means you can carry on that conversation. And if you can carry it kind of a few days down the line, all those other people will have disappeared. They'll have all petered away. And you're the one that's left because you've kept asking questions. So exactly as you would do really in a sales meeting, you'll keep those questions going. You won't go straight in with this is what we can do for you. You ask the questions to then deliver the solution. And that's what you're looking to do. Just ask those questions. And the more questions you can ask, the better really. So just keep those questions going. Make yourself stand out over those people who have gone direct in with the sell, because those that have gone in with the sell, they've not worked to build a relationship. They've just got kind of pound signs in their eyes and gone, yep, that's where the money is. I'm going direct to that person. You'll be the one that actually takes an interest in them. You'll be the one that's working to build the relationship. So you'll be the one that they pick out of all this. So in circumstances that don't fit with the ones we talked about earlier about when you can actually go in with the sell, that's what you need to do. You need to take an interest in that person, build the relationship up, keep it going, keep that relationship strong as well, and it will get to a point where it feels more than natural to say to them, well, let's have a meeting, let's go for a coffee, let's take this face to face. You're going to be the one then that gets the business over those ones that have gone in with the sell. So here's your silly summary on running those Twitter searches. So number 1, you need to run the searches in the top search bar on Twitter to search for what people are talking about on Twitter. Number 2, you're going direct to the need of that person when you run the search. You know that they've already got a need for what it is that you offer. So you've got to be really clever with that. And then number 3, think about it as conversation. So that means you've really got to clearly think through what those keywords are that you could use, because this is very conversational. And number 4, sometimes it's okay to go with the sell in circumstances such as it being an immediate need, or you already know the person, or you've had loads of referrals in, or you're one of very limited people that can actually provide that solution. Go with the sell. Otherwise, don't sell. Go with a much more appropriate response and build that relationship with them by asking lots of questions. And Twitter searches are so powerful if you get this right. And it will only take you, once you've saved those searches, set them up, it will only take you 5 minutes a day just to review them and check on anything that's coming through that you could respond to. So that's been today's silly social media extract on Twitter searches. Hope you've really enjoyed it. As always, you know what to do now. Connect with me on all of these places, and please do come and say hi on Twitter. Just come and tell me you're a silly social media member, because it'd be really, really nice to connect with you on there too. And I shall see you next time. See ya.